I was a little slow there, but this is for you, Tim. I can't remember how to play Happy Birthday anymore. Whatever, Happy Birthday, you salty old bastard.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
And that came straight from the heart of his bottom.
Straight from the heart.
Just, the few seconds it was on, I was starting to hear a birthday song. But yeah, so hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Codex Podcast. I'm your host, Sonny Kruger. I'm joined by Dan Kelly and Uncle Gary. And you may notice that Tim the Terrible is not here today. Like we said, it is his birthday. That is why Dan was going to play him a little bit of a song. But, you know what?
I forgot how I realized I was like, I haven't played Happy Birthday on my guitar in so many years. I only remembered like the first three notes.
Well, Tim wanted to be on today, but he has a strict policy of on his birthday, he spends all day in his birthday suit. And we just couldn't do that to the viewers here because we want to grow this channel, not implode it. So that's why we couldn't have naked Tim here.
There is in the comments. Tim said, "A beautiful song. I'll cherish it forever."
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, like, when you would, I mean, Gary probably doesn't know this, but, you asked a girl out, she said, "Oh, I can't, I'm washing my hair." So it's like, "Tim, are you ready for the podcast tonight?" He's like, "Oh, I can't, I'm washing my hair."
See, the girls would say, "Would you like to come to my place and help me wash my hair?" So I was just getting different responses. We don't even have to go anywhere else. You could come home. You could come to my house and bathe me. So,
Nice. Back in my days, I didn't always have a car, so sometimes it'd be like, "You come to my place and pick me up." Oh, but just come in. I'm running a little bit late. I have my little sly ways, but as time goes on, things change. I'm a one-woman man now. So get out of my DMs.
Does she know that?
Yes. She
knows. Well, that's good that you're both on the same page.
Yeah. But so like I said, Tim, it is his birthday, as we saw in the comic character of the day. Archduke Kevy, have a happy 83rd birthday to Tim. And yeah, so some people were saying, "Hey, happy 83rd." And I said, somebody with the initials SK even said, "Happy 83rd. Hope you get to have all the fun in the nursing home, Tim." He deserves it, He deserves a good time.
Tim, we're just gonna put you out in the front yard and hose you down, buddy.
Tim is just sitting there in his living room right now, waiting. He's got the bath towel wrapped around his waist. He's got the little bath cap on, and he's got his rubber ducky in one hand, and his Spider-Man rubber ducky in one hand, and his little
loofah.
Like the loofah, in the other hand, and he's just sitting there waiting for someone to come knock on his door.
Listen, I think we need to knock off this 83rd birthday stuff. He's not 83. I mean, he's not a day over decrepit, So.
Yeah. So Tim, you know what? Hey, it is your birthday. You have been on this show for years, and we're glad to have you. So I do want to say to have a. Wait, okay, we're running a bit behind on time. So, okay, everybody, we're going to move on. We've got a lot going on today.
Wow.
The episode is called Dogs, Phones, and Sticky Stuff because it goes with everything today. Today we will be reviewing Hawkeye number 11, Pizza is My Business. We'll be having Random Panel of the Week. That's with that sticky stuff. And we'll be having somebody join the F list. I'll give you a little hint. Showing my phone. But first, we'll start us off. We got a bit of comic book news, and I will start us off with the rundown.
All right, I got to remember which one the rundown. Here we go. I'm not as smooth. I was like, which one of these is the rundown? Oh, yeah, it's this one.
Sade wasn't singing about you?
You'll get it. But yeah, so we start off with some sad news, and that is the passing of Don Perlin, who was a terrific artist who was one of the co-creators of Moon Knight and of Bloodshot. He also worked on Werewolf by Night, which is where he co-created Moon Knight. He also drew for the Defenders, Ghost Rider. He did a lot. And Don was also a United States Army veteran. He was drafted in the year of 1953. That was during the time of the Korean War. And Don Perlin lived to be 94 years old. So may he rest in peace.
That was a good run.
Yeah,
good run, and a lot of comic books there. He was married. He had daughters. He had sons. I believe it was either it was 2 daughters and 3 sons, or 3. I believe it was 2 daughters and 3 sons. And like I said, Don, rest in peace. Like I said, after a good run, a good 94 years of life, may he rest in peace. And then we got some other news. Deadpool and Wolverine. Now they're really promoting it. The marketing is really getting out there. We're seeing them on plenty of commercials. And one that came out was for the tickets. The tickets are now on sale for Deadpool and Wolverine. The trailer starts off a bit regular. It almost seems like the other one. Yep, Tim Morse did say he did a lot of the early Bloodshot stuff too. One of the main reasons I collected the title.
Yeah, if you were a fan of Valiant in the early days, it meant you were a fan of Don Perlin.
Oh yeah, Don. Yeah, he worked on a lot. Even too, I believe it was Solar Man of the Moon too, right? So, well, I was considering it was Solar.
Solar Man of the Moon.
Man of the Moon. No, I'm like, I know it's right. Solar something else.
Man of the Atom.
Man of the Atom. There you go. No Man of the Moon. Solar Man of the Atom.
He got it conflated with Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Solar Man of the Moon Knight.
Sonny was well. You got to be careful because while we all buy, we'll buy comics at our shop, or sometimes we'll buy them off of eBay. Sonny gets all of his from Wish.
Solar Man of the Moon. I thought that's what it was. Yes, so maybe there is a Solar Man of the Moon somewhere out there, but yes, it is Solar Man of the Atom. And yes, like I say, he did do a lot of early work on Bloodshot. So he did, yeah. Like I said,
that was a Marvel Valiant amalgam book that we just didn't hear enough about.
Yeah, just one of the ones that weren't too popular. Mm-hmm. Maybe one day on the Codex podcast we'll review another amalgam book. Another name. I finally got amalgam right. I was considering. I was always calling like I forget what I was calling. I was like Graham. People like what? I'm like. Yeah, the one where they're all mixed. Graham. Yeah.
Well, you know what? You can write Solar Man of the Moon. That can be your next project. Kind of makes me think of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with Dayman and Nightman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I think they even have an actual musical of that.
Yeah, they did.
That's a musical I would like to see. But yeah, speaking of seeing things, the Deadpool and Wolverine, the trailer that came out, it's more for selling the tickets. It's like the big trailer that came out, but at the end there's a bit of difference. There's a bit more to it. They show you a little more of the movie. Like one part, Deadpool, it's on Wolverine. Wolverine's like, "What are you doing?" And Deadpool's removing a knife from somewhere, and even says, "Get your mind out of my pants." So I like that, and looking forward to that. And then also, would not be Tim Morse's birthday. We wouldn't be celebrating it if we couldn't bring in some rumors. Tim likes to he's such a gossiper. So there is a rumor mill. If you smell what apocalypse is cooking, and the rumor is that Marvel wants The Rock to play the role of Apocalypse.
I mean, if they do, hopefully it'll be better than the Ivan Ooze version that we got of it last time.
Oh yeah, but I really wonder if that will happen. And Dan, earlier you were saying on the pre-show about a certain Facebook memory that showed up for you. I thought it was interesting how it showed up today.
Yeah, in 2012, I posted something where I was like, I just read that The Rock is going to play Lobo, and it's like 12 years later we find out that's not true. It could have been cool, Instead, he got cast as Black Adam, and then took him 10 years to make the damn movie.
Yeah, and then look at that. Now he's rumored to be Apocalypse.
I think everybody will be disappointed if Lobo's not Momoa at this point, though. Because
I mean, if you talk when you talk about actors that are made for a role,
yeah,
the dude just looks like Lobo.
He does. Yeah. He does.
And you see the way he acts in his real life in some of these interviews and some of this other stuff. You're like, God damn, that's Lobo, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because Lobo's a pain in the ass, and prank. He's not above a good prank too. So that's perfect.
Okay, so hopefully that does happen. We want to see Jason Momoa as Lobo. What do you guys think about The Rock as Apocalypse?
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, he's a decent enough actor. He's got the build for it. I mean, if he's playing Apocalypse, then he's going to be in heavy makeup and stuff. But like I said, they already wasted a great actor playing, with Isaac playing Apocalypse, and it was a terrible movie. The look of him was terrible. So
Nick Ivanhoe, that's what it made.
Yeah, he did. Tim says
no for The Rock.
No. I think Apocalypse has a good ring to it.
All
You know,
right.
he already
Apocalypse.
played an Egyptian. You know, he played an Egyptian already, right? When he did the
Scorpion.
King.
Yeah.
Scorpion King, yeah. Yeah, I do wonder like how it would be. Like you said, with makeup, you can make it work. I wonder like acting wise how good he could be as a villain. But lately on wrestling, he was playing quite the villain and he was getting really into it. So we'll see if it happens. But for some reason, I do see like I'd like to see somebody else, maybe even an actor who isn't so known, just kind of come out there and really, get the spotlight on them to say, wow, this is the person I will picture as the live action Apocalypse. So I hope they don't just give it to The Rock because, hey, he's popular. Let's just give him a role. Hopefully they give it to the person who is the best at bringing Apocalypse, the character from the comics, to life.
I think for Apocalypse too, like some roles, if you're casting them, like if you're casting Colossus, and it's going to be, and it's not just the Deadpool one where he's armored up all the time, but it's like somebody that's going to play Peter and then armor up. Yeah, you need someone that's big and built. You know, if you're casting Superman or Batman, like, you need someone that's got muscles. If you're casting Apocalypse, there's so much like armor and stuff on him. Like, you don't have to have someone that's, that's completely jacked, because they're going to have the face makeup on. They're going to have all, this big bulky suit. So I don't think it's as important for that. To me, for someone like Apocalypse, you want someone that's more of that, like, that stern voice, someone like a Michael Ironside or crap, I can't remember his name. The guy that played Dean Wormser in Animal House.
John Vernon.
John Vernon, yeah. But like, you want someone that's got that, like, that menacing kind of voice.
As soon as you hear him speak, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, that menacing kind of attitude, more so than, oh, well, they've got to be really big to play this character. Like, I mean, for him, no.
Dean Wormer.
You threw up on Dean Wormer.
Yeah, that drunken stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Like, when he gets to Belushi, he's like, Mr. And he looks at Belushi, he's got the pencils in his nose. Mr. Blutarsky. 0.0. And then Belushi's just like,
yeah.
Good times. Always good to talk about classics.
So Tim, why don't you let us know who you think should play Apocalypse, or if The Rock is going to be in the MCU, if you don't want him to be Apocalypse, who should he play?
Tim is silent. He's upset. Right? He wants this. He's waiting for us to show up at his house to get him ready for his birthday.
Tim's still trying to blow out all those candles, and he's gotten winded.
He's standing there looking out the peephole of his door, waiting for someone to come by with soap for him.
Well, Tim, we do hope you're enjoying your birthday. But yeah, guys, any other news, anything about Deadpool and Wolverine, or like you got Don Perlin? Like I said, he did do a lot of works. Yeah, so you'll be missing. Like we were just talking about Bloodshot, Moon Knight, and he was asked before in an interview who his favorite character was that he created, and Don said that his favorite character he created was Bloodshot. That he said he had a lot to do with their creation of Bloodshot, and that Bloodshot was his favorite. Tim did get back to us. He said a good character actor is someone that has more voice acting experience than anything else.
No, that makes sense, considering the character is probably going to be buried under CGI and makeup.
Yeah. Bloodshot was a great character. It's too bad that, they tried to do that Valiant movie universe, and the first movie they started with was Bloodshot, and you're like, all right, this is going to be good. And like, Vin Diesel is Bloodshot. I'm like, all right, maybe like 15 years ago, but whatever, we'll see. And then the movie comes out, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I did not watch it.
I did not know it existed.
Yeah.
Well, there's a movie, Bloodshot. It stars Vin Diesel, and I hear that it has nothing. That it's like nothing like the comic book. I looked up something on YouTube, and the scene didn't look good, and it was all people complaining like this isn't anything like the comic book. The whole thing.
Yeah, it's not. It's honestly, I found it to be kind of boring. I get that. I think the problem with it was, they had this plan in place that, like, we're going to do Bloodshot. We're going to, like, do a couple Bloodshots, and we're going to do a couple Harbinger movies, and then we're going to, like, have a big Harbinger war thing. The problem was the same thing with DC when you know, when Snyder was in it, it's like we got to copy the MCU. They're putting the cart before the horse. It's like they're having all these plans for, you know, this big universe they're going to build. People forget when Marvel did it, they made Iron Man. And it's like, we're just making Iron Man to make Iron Man, and hopefully it's successful and we can do more stuff. And like the post-credit scene was something that they filmed, you know, kind of after the fact. And, you know, they weren't looking forward to like having this whole thing planned out at the time. That came later. And I think that was a problem with it. Like, you know, just make your movie and make it good, and then worry about what comes next afterwards.
Yeah. I'm not too interested in the Harbinger movie. I heard that they're making focusing on one of the characters. Yeah,
I don't know. I think that all that stuff fell apart. But you said Deadpool, Wolverine. At this point, like, I mean, that's one of those ones. Like the second that they announced it, I was like, I'm going to see it. I don't need to see anything for it. If you want to show me stuff cool, like you can just put a poster up that just says Deadpool, Wolverine with the date, and I'm there. So at this point, like, I don't really want to see anything. I don't want to see any more scenes from the movie. Like, I want it to all be a surprise, you know, when I go down to when I go sit down with my popcorn to watch it.
Yeah, now I do feel they're starting to show a lot. Like, okay, we've seen a lot. We're excited. Don't give too much away. Tim says all of Phase 1 was done by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, like you hear them talk about Iron Man. They were like, the day of shooting every scene, they were like rewriting the day of when they were shooting it. But yeah, for Deadpool, Wolverine, like, you've already got my money you've already got my money to see it at least one time, if not more. Like, you know, well, you know, people love to spoil stuff. People love to be the one to say, like, I knew it first and I let everyone know. Like, you know, man, just let us enjoy it.
Yeah, even too. That's how with the X-Men 97. I made sure to watch it 3 a.m. and I did not spoil things. I let everybody watch it because I didn't want any spoilers. That's why I'm like, I will watch it as soon as it comes out. Because but Deadpool and Wolverine, I do want to see that right away because we know people are going to be spoiling. I do not want that.
I'm seeing it the day it comes out. I actually had to make an eye appointment with the specialist in Annapolis, and when they were reading off the dates that was available, they didn't have any dates available for a couple months when I scheduled it, and they told me that date, and I'm like, well, that's the date Deadpool and Wolverine comes out. I'm like,
yeah, my eyes to wait.
And I have to take the day off of work because it's like an hour drive for me. So I just scheduled it for that morning because I got to get my eyes dilated. I'm like, all right, schedule my eye appointment for that morning, get my eyes dilated, see Deadpool, Wolverine in the afternoon, set.
Well, hopefully your eyes are okay when you see the movie.
Yeah.
You're not like, man, this is good.
What's the date for the movie release?
July 26th. Yeah, so that is when Deadpool and Wolverine comes out. And I say that wraps up our comic book news for today. Like I said, not too much news going on, but hey, always got to talk about the stuff that, you know, happens. And like I said, unfortunately, about the passing of Don Perlin. So I'm glad we did get to mention and talk about it, talk about his works. And
Sonny, did you see? I know, you know, you being an X-Men fan, did you see they just announced a let me look at a Wolverine miniseries that's going to be penciled by Greg Capullo?
Oh, I did not know. Very cool.
Let me
check that out.
Yeah, he posted it on his Twitter. I follow him there. It's called Wolverine Revenge, and it's written by Jonathan Hickman and penciled by Greg Capullo.
Nice, impressive names, impressive people behind it. So I should check that out. Do they have any release date yet? Or?
I didn't notice a release date, but if you look at Greg Capullo's Twitter page, he's got some pencils and some of the promo art and stuff that he's worked on for, and it looks really good.
I was going to say, it's Greg Capullo, so it should look really good. And Jonathan Hickman is a very talented writer, so hopefully it's a great miniseries. It's a miniseries, right?
Yes. Nice. I got excited first. I was like,
much X-Men going on.
Yeah. I was like, oh, is he going to be the penciler on the new ongoing? And then it's like, oh, nope, it's a miniseries. Well, whatever, I'm buying it.
Yeah, still should be cool. But yeah, so much X-Men. You know, I'm loving it with, you know, like I said, X-Men 97 came out, and then all these comics that I said, you know, the big event from the Ashes, all the new X titles that will be coming out. So much for us X-Men fans to look forward to this summer. And of course, the series should all continue on to months and months past. But you know what's not so fun? Getting sticky stuff on your mouth. So, Dan, would you show us the random panel of the week? I was very unsure about picking this, but I picked it, and there we go. There was a red-headed woman, and she says, Marvin, what's this horrible sticky stuff on my mouth? And there we go. We see that there's some white, as she said, sticky stuff on her mouth. I think we can assume that it's lotion. Maybe he was just, going to lotion his hands, and when you get to, you're trying to lotion it too much because you have dry hands, and maybe accidentally it got on her face, on her mouth.
Yeah.
Could be that. Uncle Gary, what do you think is going on in this comic?
I can't say. Yeah. Allow me to say.
I was a little nervous about picking this one, like, because we try to be this is the show that we try to behave, but I'm like, I don't know. But then I still decided to put it out there. Yeah. So okay, if anything happens, I have myself to blame, nobody else.
Not that it has anything to do with this, but maybe it does. There's a great Three Stooges quote where Curly says, if at first you don't succeed, just keep on sucking until you do succeed. But,
well, hey, who knows? This looks like it's a very older like it's an older comic book. Maybe a lot of the villains, they have all these different kinds of guns, and maybe there was a Flash villain who said, I got this.
Looks like Paste Pot Pete.
I was about to say maybe she went out on a date with Paste Pot Pete, and it ended better for him than it did for her.
Well, happy ending for him.
Yeah.
And not so happy, a horrible sticky stuff on her mouth. But hey, maybe there was a villain who had a gun and he shot some stuff that was maybe going to, let's say, slow the Flash down. Like they shoot it at him and it gets him stuck. And then the villain was testing his gun out and accidentally shot a piece of that horrible sticky stuff on this young lady's mouth.
She might have, gone deep into a Krispy Kreme donut and got all that glaze on her.
Yeah, and too, we knew this is an older one, so maybe it was that. Yeah, maybe it was a donut.
What's up,
Eternal Night says, yes, lotion. That's exactly what it is. Steve, there we go. We got confirmation right there that this young lady has lotion right around her lips. Or maybe, too, this is an older comic. Maybe she wasn't used to yogurt. And then she did it, and she's like, what is this horrible sticky stuff? And then her husband's like, honey, it's this thing called yogurt.
Yeah, well, maybe she just needs to moisturize more and just rub it in everywhere.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe since today is Tim's birthday, maybe she paid Tim a visit.
You should pay Tim a visit?
Maybe. And he's like, that's me. That's my birthday celebration. Because maybe it's also... maybe it's also cake. Maybe there you go. It's a bit of a frosting cake.
It might be cake and icing. That's right.
Yeah, cake and icing. And like I said,
I bet it's some kind of frosting.
Yeah, well, it is, but you would think she would know. She seems very inexperienced to not know what that might be. So,
yeah, but
yeah,
who knows? And let's see, we got some more comments there. Tim says, "Here's hoping."
Yeah.
And Eternal Nights did say open for interpretation. They didn't have to wear kitty gloves writing and drawing back then like they do now.
Oh, we need my buddy Chris or Snoop to see this. I'm sure he'd have a witty rejoinder. Yeah.
Yeah, so much fun, so much possibilities with this stuff.
Well,
do we know any big characters named Marvin? We could possibly see
Marvin the Martian.
There we go.
His outer space modulator broke down and exploded.
There we go. Yeah. Good old Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. And there's got to be some superhero or someone named Marvin. I mean, it's not a. And again, it's not exactly a superheroic name, but
no,
yeah. It could be somebody. It could be one of those other comic books, those romance ones, those vegetable lover ones, those amputee love ones.
Yeah, probably. Well,
it could be one of those comics, or one day I was trying to find this too, and I was unable to find out which comic book this is from. I'm like, what's this horrible sticky stuff in my mouth comic? But no.
Oh, there's I just looked it up. There's Marvin Flum from Marvel, who is, I have no idea who that guy is.
I was going to say, who is Marvin Flum?
It's Mentala. Mentalo,
Okay.
Mentalo, however you say
Mentalo. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's Marvin from Super Friends. That's clearly who it is.
Oh my God, that's Wendy with a dye job.
Yeah, she's being a real super friend.
Being a super freak. Marvin was her brother. Wasn't Marvin her brother or not? Or maybe they were just friends.
I think they were just friends. It's been a long time since I watched it, but
maybe good friends.
Well, now they
maybe
are
super friends.
Friends with sticky benefits.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And there's one, Tim. Yeah, he's the one that put that stuff on her mouth. LOL. He flung it.
Well, he did. He certainly did flung it.
And that is our random panel of the week. Always fun. Always a bit naughty. I was like, should I? Like I said, I was a little iffy about that one, but hey, you know, nothing wrong with somebody accidentally getting a bit of lotion on their mouth. So.
Well, there's a whole bunch of panels you can pick from Batman 66. That's the famous Joker boner.
Oh, yeah. I was considering doing the one, but then I'm like, one day we may have to just review this thing because there's just so much throughout the whole issue.
I own that issue.
I believe you. Most people I would say that's so old, but
no, I have that issue, and I bought it because it was the boner issue. Because I'm still 12 years old, and I think that is hilarious.
And yeah, anybody who hasn't read it or even checked it out a little bit, it's full of talking about boners.
About the Joker's boner, yeah. The whole city was laughing at, Gotham City was laughing at the Joker's boner, and he was going to teach Gotham City that they shouldn't be laughing at his boner. Yeah.
So then what I'm considering doing, if we should do the random panel of the week one day, or if we should just review that whole issue.
And the cover of it's pretty funny too, because it's the Joker on where his head is on top of a totem pole that's being toppled.
Man, the classic. Yeah, like I said, and anybody, if there is any random panel of the weeks, or any random panels you'd like to see us discuss, let us know anywhere. We're on all the socials. And two, if there's any comic books, like I said, how we were talking about maybe one day reviewing Batman 66. If there's a comic you would love to see us review, just let us know.
How about Batman 69? I'd like to see how that goes.
I don't know if it'll be as wild as 66, but hey.
There may be some sticky stuff on Vicky Bale's mouth.
If Yvonne Craig's in it.
Yeah. Well, then we get into the whole Batman animated thing that was wrong in so many levels. Batman's not supposed to be doing Batgirl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's Robin's job. I mean, Robin's job.
Robin. Okay. All right, but you know what? Speaking of things that are wrong, you know what might be wrong is if I put my phone on my head or if I thought it'd be a good helmet/mask for me. So that brings us to the F list.
I
got to say real quick, what's funny, one of the pictures in the F list there is Super Pro, which I did talk to Fabian Nices about in the interview today because he wrote the Super Bowl special that introduced him and the first 4 issues of the series.
Nice. I'm really looking forward to that.
Does he own it? Does he own that he did?
Oh yeah, he said. Well, he said he's like the one editor came to him and asked him if he's like, hey, will you take a look? Because there was like a lot of stuff that was done with it. He said before he got involved, like a lot of pitches and stuff that the NFL kept turning down, and they asked to take a look at it. He's like, I can't, I'm too busy. And he's like, look, if you tell me no, then this guy's coming to ask you tomorrow. And if you tell him no, then it's this guy. And it just kept going up the chain to like all the way to the top to the publisher. And I was like, man, it sounded like they were coming after you like the mob. He was like, that's exactly what it was. He's like, they pretty much took, or letting me know that I had to do it.
Oh, man. And one of the, basically, if you care to this, basically the epitome of the F list, NFL Super Pro. But today we have Phone Ringer join the F list. There's that. That is actually another phone ringer. That is their phone ringer from the Mojo, or from the Mojo verse. But There we go. Oh, look that. I didn't even realize when I sent that picture of phone ringer.
What are you doing between his legs, son?
I'm not doing that. No sticky stuff on my mouth. But there we go. There's phone ringer. Yeah, as you can see, he's wearing red.
That's not. I was going to say that's not the part of the phone that your mouth goes on, Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny. Sonny, you're in Brown Lantern territory there. Watch out.
The Brown Lantern. Yeah. And as you can see, yeah,
there you go. Much better.
There you go. He's a phone for a head, is he? Or not as a head. He has a regular person head, but his mask is red.
A regular person head.
A phone.
Speaking of
around it, there he is. That is so disturbing.
Right there.
Right there.
Don't forget, these are the pictures that Sonny picked out and sent.
Yes.
And there he is. There's some fighting going on. There's Beast, and here somebody just yells, "Your mother." Somebody said, "Let go of my face, creep." But you see, somebody has wrapped the phone around phone ringers,
so,
the cord around his head.
So Gary, is that being the expert on him? Would that be
that's Avengers Beast
or the Avengers that is fighting him there?
That is an Avengers Beast on one of his little vacations away from the team where he was fighting a bunch of losers. You know, he says these aren't Avengers caliber, so he was just going to solo defeat them. I don't know. That looks like Captain America's fist.
I see Whirlwind there. Is that Sabretooth back there?
Yeah,
Sabretooth. Yep.
And as you can see, will you show that one again?
I was going to say, who's that there? I can't remember.
Unicorn.
Unicorn, yeah.
Unicorn.
I was like, I remember that. I was like, is that Unicorn? That was such a lame character.
And that's Namorita with her back to you.
Yeah. There it is. There's a bunch of characters.
The Blue Shield there.
And if you look over, somebody is shooting phone ringer in his head.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Batroc is on there.
Right, there's the thing. Yeah, there's quite a few characters.
Pile Driver is in there.
Oh yeah, I see the Beetle. I see up in the right Atuma, the Thing fighting Thundra, the Wrecker. Is that Namorita fighting the Wrecker?
Yeah, Namorita's there. Yep.
I see it.
Batroc's getting hit by Namorita.
Yeah, up in the top right corner, that kind of looks like Siren, but
yeah, it kind of does.
But was she? I don't know. Was she introduced at this time?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, that looks like Teresa.
Yeah, someone blasting Porcupine.
Yep.
Look at the look on Batroc's face.
Yep.
that's a Looney Tunes expression if I ever seen one.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that is messed up.
Would you show the one where we show some of the last ones again, real quick? That one, yep, right there. Phone ringer says, "Too many telephones have died today. The phone ringer is here to avenge them." Yeah.
Wow.
So, guys, which one of you would like to take a stab at the origin of phone ringer?
I'm just gonna keep.
You can leave that one up there because we can see it.
Keep going back to this one.
I am very disturbed. By this. I am very disturbed by this. Oh man, his geez. Okay, so this is his name is Tommy Bell, and Tommy Bell was traumatized when he was a kid because he was on the phone with his mother, who was traveling for work, and she was in a location where a tornado hit. And so while the tornado hit, while she was on the phone with him, and he heard her scream, and that was the last thing he heard. And Ma Bell died right then and there, and so he's always traumatized because he lost Ma Bell on the phone, and you know that always resonated with him, and that the telephone became a sacred object to him, and that by dressing up as a telephone, he thought he would get in touch with his mother's spirit, who was still caught somewhere in the telephone airwaves because she died while she was on the phone.
Wouldn't it be fantastic if he had like a little car, like the phone mobile or something to get around that was shaped like a phone booth?
There you go. That would be great. That would be
great. Or like if he could just reach back and grab that phone off the back of him and then like spin it around by the cord and like hit people with it.
Hey, he might have to do that. Dan, any guesses as to the origin?
I think Gary covered it pretty well. I would like to add that
Dan liked the Ma Bell part, didn't he?
Ma Bell really goes perfect with it, yeah.
That you see that little gear that's on his belt there. What you don't know is that that you can actually. Where's that hand going there, Sonny?
I don't know what he's
searching.
This
you're searching. You're gonna find something. I don't know if you're gonna like what you find though.
Look, this is what Sonny's done to his action figures. This is how it starts.
Yeah, that belt buckle actually opens up and it holds a lot of quarters for him, so that if anybody needs to make a collect call. And the way that he looks pretty muscular there. So the reason is because he has the numbers on his the pad on his chest. So it doesn't say it in here, but one thing he likes to do when he's getting ready to go in a fight is he's like, oh, it's time to dial up the pain, and then he dials up a number, and that's what gives him his super strength that he goes out and fights with.
Well, I like that.
They really should have done that with him. Dial up the pain, yeah. So everybody, here is the real history of Phone Ringer. His actual name is A.G. Bell.
Oh,
you got the last name right.
A.G. Bell. He was created by Kurt Busiek and James Fry in his first appearance, Marvel Age Annual number 1 in 1985. That's where a lot of the older pictures are from that we were seeing. Yeah, as you can see, he is single with that outfit. Somehow he's single.
And he's ready to mingle with Sonny.
He's ready to call. But his problem is that he tries to call people, but he uses that old phone, and nobody, uses those kinds of phones.
Like, yeah, bro. How are you? How do you have a landline that he's, a landline that he's made mobile that's still an actual landline?
Yeah. Well, the one thing about those old landlines, you could beat somebody to death with those phones. They were.
Oh yeah, you remember? Just look at Joe Pesci.
Yep, there you go.
They come in actually. Speaking of which, we may laugh at his outfit because he has a phone by his head, but it's actually come in handy quite a bit. So A.G. Bell was a telephone repairman who was sent to fix a phone, and then he was actually acting as a prison for. Yeah, unknown to any, he was actually acting as a prison for a small race of aliens. Yeah, it was acting as a place for small aliens, the Zeltas. So he thought he was fixing a phone. It was actually aliens, and he actually freed them. He accidentally freed them when the phone was broken. Bell found out the Zeltas' technology in advance in the device, replicating it in his home. Bell found it could be used to tap into any communications technology. He decided to use it to fight crime as a superhero phone ringer.
So he helped E.T. phone home.
Pretty much, yeah. Just touch these buttons on my chest, and you can phone home. And then
somebody's getting ready to touch one of his buttons.
Yeah, yes,
that's right.
It was phone that he was working.
I don't want any sticky stuff. But phone ringer was like a part of Marvel Age Annual number 1, and for some reason in that issue, everybody was going to call. Most of them were breaking their phones so much. Which is why he even said, too many phones have died today. He tries to be a hero. And as we see in that picture there, he got shot in his head. But his telephone helmet, mask, whatever you want to call it, prevented him from actually dying. Also,
thank God for that.
Yeah, also while trying to be a superhero, he met up with the Scourge of the Underworld. And Scourge of the Underworld shot him in the head. But once again, that phone on top of Phone Ringer's head saved him.
He's getting ready to shoot Sonny in the head there.
Yeah, he's getting ready to do squats on his skull. Yeah.
Let's hope not. But yeah, so later on, he followed the enactment since he was a part of the Civil War. Perfectly picture of me in between his legs.
Oh my God.
So following the enactment of the Superhuman Registration Act. And
I just got to say real quick, that was at about the 51-minute and 55-second mark, Tim. If you want to go back and just do a capture of Sonny saying in between his legs and, capture that, we'll be able to use that for, I'm sure we'll be able to use it for something in the future.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing that image doesn't just turn around. Do a 180.
Oh no way. That's After Dark stuff. Yes, the Phone Ringer was arrested by Iron Man, Spider-Man, and the NYPD alongside Electron, Light Bright, and Wild Streak. After the Captain America surrendered,
Right.
After
What? I thought he was a hero. Why is he getting arrested?
During the Civil War War, picturing the superheroes were some of them getting arrested. Bell accepted, and he offered superhero amnesty for former members of the rebellion, and that's pretty much what went on with him. And his abilities, this may surprise people, but Bell is skilled at repairing and innovating upon analog and digital telephone technology.
Wow.
And trivia is that ready? A.G. Bell is named after Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone.
Well, I had his last name right.
Yeah.
You did have it right, yeah. So you got that right. And there's no mention of his mother, so we can just call
he did have a Ma
this
Bell.
dude's mother Ma Pet.
So basically, he's a guy that's good at fixing phones and decided he was going to put on a really stupid costume and go out and fight crime. And the only reason he wasn't killed multiple times is because he has this stupid giant phone as a backpack. Like, they couldn't make it his power. Like, what if his power was like, hey, he could like travel through phone lines? Like, hey, okay, the Atom does that. That's cool, but like, I'm going to dial up the pain. Like,
I've never even seen him take off the phone to actually hit anybody or use it. Only in one of the pictures we saw somebody wrap the cord around his head. But like I said, hey, it did save his life a couple times. So I guess that's one way to avoid getting killed by bullets is by having a telephone helmet.
Well, the telephone there, I guess, is like a tea towel in someone's house. It's just there for decoration. You don't actually use it for to dry your hands.
But everybody, Phone Ringer. You guys think he can make it out of the F list?
Zero chance of that.
No, disconnect that bitch. He's done. That number is
he's staying.
Is unlisted.
There's not enough friends that he could phone to get him off the F list.
That's right. Yeah. I agree with that.
This dude is staying on the F list.
Yeah, it's he needs to go. His number and him need to be unlisted forever. Nobody calls him. You call him, there'd be no busy signal because nobody's calling him.
You know what? You were talking about amalgams earlier. If they do another amalgam, they could do an amalgam of this and the DC book, Dial H for Hero, and they could call it Dial L for Loser.
There you go. I like that. I'd like that. And that was, that was Robbie somebody. What was his name? Anyway, yeah, for Dial H.
Okay, well, Phone Ringer, like I said, he fights for the rights of every telephone. He will avenge phones. With these kids nowadays always dropping their phones, Phone Ringer would be very upset. So, but yeah, I don't really think there's a way for him to get out of the F list. I say A.G. Bell, Phone Ringer stays in the F list.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one.
All right. And next we have a review. But before we get to a review, Dan's got something to tell everybody about.
So our sponsor this week is Tim's personal comic book store, Nirvana Comics in Knoxville. I know he goes there every week. He always talks about how much he loves it. They were voted the Image had the contest this year that was the first annual Comic Shop Awards, and they were voted best shop. So that's that's pretty impressive. You see their address there. They're also online where you can order from them there. They have been nice enough to give us some pretty cool exclusive covers that they have that we've done as giveaways. And you can also order them from their website as well. So what is it they say? They have a
comic for everyone.
They have a comic for everyone, yeah.
Including you. And Tim went there today in his birthday suit. So not only was it New Comic Book Day, it was Nude Comic Book Day. So there you go. Wearing
nothing but a party hat.
Nothing but a party hat.
Smile.
Kind of typical for Tim, though, honestly. Yeah. I hear he does that I hear he's been doing that for like 60 years for his birthday now.
Yeah, well, on his birthday, he normally just wears his hair down. But on his birthday, when it's a special day, he puts it in pigtails like Pippi Longstocking.
Wow. Yeah. That's quite a sight there.
All right, but
you know what else is quite a sight, Gary?
Tell me. There you go. That's quite a sight. I mean, I am so disturbed by that.
Well, again, we're gonna have to remember that image.
And the fact that Sonny is just nonplussed and was really enjoying himself.
Hey, Dan, you couldn't be the only one pressing buttons today, you know. So like, hey, Dan gets to press the buttons to show the pictures. I get to press some buttons too. So therefore, that's why I said me at the bottom, so phone ringer gets to be above me.
I was say, you seen that Kevin Smith movie, Zack and Miri Make a Porno, when they're shooting it in the I can't say this. It's hard to say this without getting too graphic. When they're shooting it and Jason Mewes comes out and he's like covered in brown stuff and he's like, she frosted me like a cake.
Jesus Christ.
Don't leave phone ringer there too long, and that might happen to me.
Oh man. And Sonny, you're off the hook with that, man. It's good.
Nicely put. But all right, everybody. We put the phones behind us, we put the sticky stuff behind us, and now we get on to our review. Today we will be reviewing Hawkeye from the volume number 4, issue number 11, Pizza is My Business. And usually it would be Tim giving the credits, but today Dan Kelly will be giving the credits.
All right, so when you look at the beginning of the issue, it's a couple pages in that they give you the credits, and there's not really a whole lot there. It just says by Matt Fraction and David Aja. I'm not really sure.
I think it's Aja. Yes.
Aja, yeah. So Matt Fraction was the writer. David Aja was the artist on here, with Matt Hollingsworth, who I presume was either the colorist or the letterer. I'm not really sure because it literally just says by Matt Fraction and David Aja with Matt Hollingsworth. But yeah, so they are the ones behind this issue.
Yes, this is a very unique issue in Hawkeye. This is focusing on the Lucky the dog, also known as Pete's dog, and this issue like this from the point of view of Lucky. And when we see everybody talking, let's say we see Hawkeye, we see Kate Bishop talking. Anybody, when people go to speak in this, their dialogue is really mixed. Like a lot of it's kind of scribble, and then you'll see a word here and a word there. I guess the way that a dog sees it. So basically, Lucky the dog goes out, leaves the apartment, and then another dog kind of gets Lucky to follow. Lucky does, and then this other dog shows Lucky that a person has been killed. Somebody was shot. So this, Lucky, as Lucky walks around, certain images will pop up, like, I guess it's from the smell, like, okay, a person will show up, and it will be like fries and a drink and maybe a cigarette or something like that. Lucky also happens to see some shady characters, and they beat up a man, and Lucky immediately knows, he gets the sense that these are two mean people, so Lucky leaves. Lucky comes back, and eventually later on comes across these people again and sees that these people are working for the clown. Well, actually, this is before when Hawkeye and Kate Bishop were getting ready to go, and Hawkeye says, you're the man of the house, watch over everything. But Lucky the dog decided to go out again, see that same old dog, and then that's when they come across that the villain clown is in charge of these guys, and they're, Lucky gets the feeling that these guys are bad, and they even pull out a gun, and that's when there's a fight between them, and Lucky tackles one of them, and then it goes to another scene, and we see there's an elderly woman who has a chain, and on that chain, most people may have a little symbol, maybe they'll have a heart at the edge, maybe a cross, but this woman has a machine gun at the edge of her chain, or her chain necklace, whatever you want to call it. And, because clown is speaking pretty much in Spanish, because again, like we've seen it to Lucky's version, you don't see a lot of the dialogue, but then you'll see a word here and a word there. But we could tell these are villains. Even in other issues, clown has been revealed as a villain. And Lucky the dog, once the door opens, escapes and gets home to Hawkeye. And then I can tell us, like I said, there wasn't much. We see that there was an argument between Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. Like I said, we can't see too much. But Kate leaves, and she takes Lucky with her. And then they go on the road. So that's pretty much the whole story of Pizza is My Business. One thing is this is unique. That's one thing I liked. And I've seen this on many lists of like some of the greatest one-shots. So that's why I was interested in, hey, let's review this one. For me, I think it's an interesting take. that we're seeing things from the dog's point of view, but I don't think it was that like, oh my gosh, this was such an important issue. It didn't really move the Hawkeye story forward too much, except for pretty much the I guess you could say argument between Hawkeye and Kate Bishop and leaving. But to me, it almost felt more like a filler issue in the story of Hawkeye. And I give it points for uniqueness, for taking a chance. I always like to see that. Even sometimes I think sometimes stories like this really work out, where like I said, this is really popular, and sometimes people really don't like it. But I give points to people who take chances on their stories and go for something different. So for me, that was my favorite part, is going with something different. I like Lucky the dog, or Pizza Dog, sometimes is Lucky is referred to. But for me, overall, I didn't find the story to be worth all the hype I was seeing about it. Like I said, seeing it to all these lists of greatest one-shots ever, I thought it was a pretty okay kind of story to me. Like I said, not too much stood out to me. I just thought it interesting seeing from Lucky's point of view. Artwork is fine. I guess it's how this story of Hawkeye, all the issues of Hawkeye were going, but I'm not like too into it. It's not too detailed. It's not like there were no pictures where I was like, wow, that's such a beautiful panel or anything. And then story-wise, like I said, interesting because it's from the dog's point of view, but there still isn't that much to the story, and not much was solved. I mean, we can say, yeah, like the bad guys, they're the ones who shot. We're assuming they're the ones who shot the dead man, but they were never arrested. Not much happens with Clown. Lucky just kind of escapes and goes back home. For me, I say Hawkeye, volume number 4 is issue number 11. Pizza is my business. It's a bit better than okay. I give it a 6.5 out of 10.
All right.
Okay, and Dan, how about you?
All right.
Hawkeye 11.
Yeah, like you said, it's a unique issue. I'd be really interested to see what the script was that they wrote for the issue, because there's not a lot of dialogue in it. So, and like you said, most of the dialogue, it's just kind of blah blah blah, and then there'll be a couple snippets of words, which presumably are the words that the dog would hear the most, which would be the words that he would remember, like Lucky and Pizza and Hawkeye. And so I'd be interested to see Matt Fraction's script for it. It's funny, if you look at the cover too, back then when the way Marvel did it with that like Revolution kind of Marvel Revolution banner at the bottom of all the books, where it would have the names of them on there, of the creators like Fraction, Aja, and all that. If you look at it on the cover of that, it just says rough.
I do like that. Yeah, I think I can say that.
So the artwork is nice. It's I like Aja's art. It's minimalistic, but it's minimalistic in a good way. And if you watch the Hawkeye series on that they did on Disney Plus a few years ago, that series takes heavily from this run, and especially the art. Like the credits for it are just straight from his artwork. But it's a quick read, if you want to say that, because there's not really a lot of reading in it. It's it's really just looking at the art and following it, and it's got a lot of written out, like almost like diagrams of stuff. And it's cool seeing it from the dog's point of view, and the way that they associate stuff. So excuse me, like it's the smell, that they I smell this, and they associates it with this. I smell this and associate with that. Like, oh, I recognize that person. This person bad. This person good. Like you said, it's not. It doesn't do a lot to, because you don't hear the dialogue. There's only so much you get from the story, but it's cool seeing the dog's perspective from it. And clearly, there's friction between Clint and Kate in the issue, and which kind of at the beginning of it, which kind of prompts Lucky to leave the apartment and go off and have this this little adventure with his friend. And you see there is something to the dog other than just hanging out with the Hawkeyes and eating pizza. There's one scene in it I thought was pretty funny when Hawkeye's leaving, and he says, one of the bits of dialogue you can actually is actually written out where he says, you know, you're in charge of the place, and like Lucky kind of gives him a little salute.
I think my favorite part of the story. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, like you said, it's an interesting story. It's not a must read, but it's, you know, it's something that, you know, when you're done, you're not gonna regret taking the time to read it. So, you know, as an interesting way to tell a story, you know, I'll rate it a bit higher. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. You know, like you said, I appreciate when creators can take chances with something and do something new. And in this case, I think that it actually worked.
Okay, so 7.5 for Dan. Uncle Gary, how about you?
Well, I'm the outlier here. I did not enjoy this at all.
Really?
I don't have any issues with this book, and the reason why this run, and it's because I can't stand the art. It just, but you know, art is subjective, and to me, it just does not work. I just don't like the art style. It is way too cartoony and simplistic for me. So I never picked up the series just because I couldn't get past the art. And same way with, you know, Jeff Lemire, who is a great writer. I can't, his art just kills me. So I don't get any of the stuff that he draws. You know,
I'm not a fan of his art either.
Yeah. So, but it's subjective. That doesn't mean it's not good. It just doesn't work for me. So it did not work for me. And that kind of taints the story for me a little bit because I just did not care for the art. Was it clever with, you know, as the dog is smelling things and it's going back through this, he smells this, so therefore it's this person. Sure, it's clever. I give the story points for trying to be clever, for trying to take it from the dog's perspective. Because I haven't read any of these other issues in this run, I was a little bit on, you know, who is this guy? Who is that guy? I didn't understand where the dog tackled a guy. It looked like they fell off a building, but evidently I guess they didn't. And the next scene he's in this, it seemed like he was in the room with the mother or the grandmother with the rifle thing around her neck, and then the guy that was shot in the knee, and I don't understand that. So maybe I didn't. Now I was reading it on my phone. I had to read it on my phone, so I wasn't able to look at the art, I guess, in all its glory and maybe comprehend the story as much as I should have. But I was less than motivated to make a good effort to it too, because I just wasn't enjoying it. But I appreciate the creativity of it. So for me, the art, or let's say for me, the story and the creativity of it, I give it maybe a 40% and a 4 out of 10. And the art for me is a 1. So I'm going to bring it down. It just doesn't work for me. That's why I don't pick up the series. And so for me, I'll generously give it a 3 out of 10 for me. That doesn't mean it's not good. That just means that it just didn't connect with me. That's all.
And like you said, art is subjective. You know?
I see it with the art too. I don't think that his art on this book for me was something that worked because of the nature of the book, the way it was, where it wasn't like Hawkeye going and doing Avengers stuff. It was, you know, him doing stuff in the neighborhood and the jeans and, you know, and the t-shirt and the stuff with the tracksuit mafia. Like, I think for me, the artwork worked because it was that setting. If this, you know, if you had him trying to draw in the same art style, like, you know, like Spider-Man fighting the Sinister Six or the Kree Skrull War or Dark Phoenix side, like, no, it's not going to work on that stuff. But I liked it because I thought that it fit the setting of the book. You know, there's some artists that are going to be great no matter what they do, and there's some that it's got to be just the right story. So
I agree that the art matched the setting of this, and I also agree that the best part of the book was the dog saluting after he told him to watch the place, but it just did not work for me. That doesn't mean it's not worth. That doesn't mean it's not worthwhile. That just means for whatever reason it just didn't, you know, motivate me to like it.
You know, and that's
definitely a story to get people talking. Like I said, all different opinions on it, you know, because it is one of those unique stories. You know, it is focusing on a dog, and like I said, not much dialogue to it. Yeah. So
yeah, and like you said with Jeff Lemire, I agree with you. I like his writing. I don't really get into his art. There's another one like Scotty Young. I know a lot of people like.
I'm not
that.
a Scotty Young guy. No.
His writing is good. He wrote this horror miniseries for, I think it was Image a couple years ago that was pretty good. But yeah, I don't like that cartoony art that, especially on all the covers, like the big head and the little bodies. Like it's not really my thing, and the same thing with all these cartoon Disney covers and stuff. But we all collect what we like, and other people that like it, like, hey, you know what? There's enough people that like it, and that's cool. But again, like you said, it's subjective.
And like I said, I'm not trying to invalidate anybody's opinion on this.
Oh yeah, no, me neither.
I respect everybody's opinion on this, and there are people that really, really love it. I just didn't. And I will say this too, that the story to me suffered because of the art and gave me a big disconnect and made me less interested in the story. So the story, I'm sure, is better than I'm giving it credit for. It's just the art is putting me in a place where I am reluctant to even want to devote energy into enjoying the story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take you out.
It's leaving me detached and disassociated with it, where I don't want to, be interested in it because it's just so off-putting to me. But like I said, it's subjective. I mean, what he draws, it doesn't appeal to me. I sure couldn't draw anything near that well. I'm no kind of artist, but it just doesn't appeal to what I would want to, read.
And one thing I will say for everyone is that since it is such a quick story, I think it would be interesting to have people check it out because if you're able to, like I said, you can see we all have different opinions on it. But one thing I think we can all agree on is it's not going to take you long to get through it. So it's not like you're going to spend a half an hour and be like, oh man, I spent all this time and I don't like the story. You'll get through it fast, even if
and I don't mind being the outlier and the dummy that didn't like it. That's okay. It's not the listen.
We all have our stories, that we don't care for.
On the other end of the spectrum, I don't hate the Green Lantern movie.
And I was going to say,
he loves it.
You look at some of David Aja's other stuff, and you can tell that it's the same style, the same kind of style as this. But I've seen some of his other stuff that is a bit more detailed. So clearly this was the artistic choice they made for this book. And on some other books, it looks very similar to this, and on other stuff, it's more detailed. So again, like I wouldn't like this art style, on a lot of stuff, but because of what the nature of this book was, I think it fit with it. But I can also see how someone would look at it and be like, yeah, I don't dig this, because it didn't capture me right away. It's something that once I got into it, I got it, but it wouldn't have been something that drew me in just with the art.
Yeah, so all over the place with Hawkeye in issue 11. Like I said, I've seen on lists, it's considered one of the best one-shots. Uncle Gary gives it 3 out of 10. I give it 6.5 out of 10. Dan gives it 7.5 out of 10. So everybody, what do you think of Hawkeye number 11, Pizza is My Business? Which side are you on? And everyone, that wraps up our review of Hawkeye 11, Pizza is My Business. And with that, we can, it might get you a bit hungry for pizza since there's all this pizza talking about. We don't need to talk about any sticky stuff anymore, any phones. We can let's stick to the pizza talk. And before we go off and get to the pizza.
There we go.
There we go. Speaking of pizza, hey, look at he's even yellow and red.
You're talking about pizza. I think you're right there to
yellow and red.
Pepperoni from him.
A pizza ass.
You can use him to call Domino's to get that delivery and he'll deliver it to you.
Avoid the Noid.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. Now I'm glad that
or is it avoid the Nads?
Yeah, in his case, yes. But everyone, it's been a great episode. Thank you all for joining us. I'm your host, Sonny Kruger, and I was joined today by Dan Kelly and Uncle Gary. And before we let you get going, Dan can share with us once again all the socials. Uncle Gary, you love to tell us.
The social, yeah. See, because of things that Sonny's doing like right now, that's why we at the Codex Station have all the socials. And we'd like nothing better than to give them to you. And you, and you, and you, and you.
Oh, that's in here, putting that up there. Where it moves
change
it up.
that one. Change that one. Change that one. But take the stuff away. My head's way too far up, up the alley.
Oh, man. Oh. That was disturbing.
Well, that could be a present for Tim Morris, since today is his birthday.